Hey guys, so just was going to introduce book snaps and tell you a little bit about where they came from and why. So basically, I'm Tara Martin, also known as at Tara Martin EDU on Twitter. And in August of 2016, I wrote a blog post about book snaps. And how that came about is I married my high school sweetheart, and we've been married for almost 18 and a half years. And we have a 15-year-old little boy who lives on Snapchat. I'm not kidding. I can't even imagine how he goes to school and spends that many hours on Snapchat every single day. I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about here. And so, as a mom, I was really just like hating on Snapchat and kind of hoping that we could just limit his time or maybe even take it away and make him delete the app from his phone. And I got to thinking, well, first of all, I spend a lot of time on Twitter. So I was like, man, that would stink if someone took my communication away. So maybe I should try to figure out a way to use Snapchat for edu awesomeness. And for anyone who knows me, you know that I love to read. And so I started snapping quotes with the app Snapchat. I actually downloaded it for the first time, and it doesn't really look very user friendly. So I actually had to have my son Caleb come down and kind of give me Snapchat 101 and teach me how to use it, and told him kind of what I was wanting to use it for. And he showed me all the tricks in the trades of Snapchat, and here we went. So I started snapping quotes and, typing out the text and hashtagging the book and hashtagging the author. And I really wanted to create like a visual representation of what was happening in my mind at the time when I read that quote. So I first was using the stickers and the emojis, and then I was introduced to Bitmoji. If you don't have an avatar, Bitmoji, you should go to bitmoji.com and create one. It's fantastic. And so I started using the Bitmojis along with the emojis and creating this visual representation of what was happening in my mind. And at that point, I started tweeting them out, and I would hashtag book snaps. And apparently book snaps had never had a name before. So if someone has used book snaps before with Snapchat, they didn't give it a name and they hadn't made it public. So here we go. Book snaps has its own hashtag, and here we're trying it out. And this was August of 2016. And a few people saw it and they would comment on them. Oh, those are pretty neat. What are you doing? How are you doing that? But then Dave Burgess, the author of Teach Like a Pirate, the New York Times bestselling author of Teach Like a Pirate, saw them and he said, hey, Tara, I was wondering if you would guest post for my blog. And I was like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me right now? The New York Times bestselling author of Teach Like a Pirate? I'm pretty sure I'm not quite that type of blogger just yet. I was so new to starting my website and blogging altogether. So I was like, this is a fantastic idea, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not qualified for that just yet. And he assured me that it would be fine. And what happened when I did that is we got a lot of eyes. He has a lot of followers, and he got a lot of eyes on book snaps. And that's what educators across the nation and even across the world were asking me, how are you doing that? How are you using that with students? Oh no, Snapchat is blocked in our system, but we still like the idea of it. Annotating, recreating how you're connecting to the text with a visual digital representation. And that's where, on my website, if you go to tarammartin.com, you go to the resource tab, which is up at the top in the middle, you'll see there's tons of YouTube videos for how to create book snaps with many different apps. We want this to be accessed for all students. It's a fabulous strategy. And really, the more I got to studying it, the more I started to realize all of the science behind comprehending text and creating meaning. Book snaps falls right in line with it. And really, if you think about it, and if you ever get to come to one of my sessions at a workshop at a conference, you'll get to hear a little bit about the brain science behind it, but you're engaging the left hemisphere of your brain, which is comprehending and reading and creating meaning with text, with the right hemisphere of your brain of creating an digital image. And so when you do that, your chances of lodging that information into the long-term memory increases drastically. So what we have had over the last few months is just so many people DMing and emailing me and telling me how their students are connecting to text via Snapchat and via book snaps and different apps. And it's just incredible. But there are some rules to Snapchat. I really think that, I mean, to book snaps, I really, really, really strongly recommend that we don't put a rubric on them. When we as educators put a rubric and put parameters on a student when they're trying to connect to text, we take away their chance to apply those personal background information or just how they're personally receiving the text. If we're making them create a book snap based off of our expectations, we limit that chance of them actually connecting personally. And really, when I created book snaps or when I started using them, I was personally connected to the text. No one was telling me what I should pull out. And when I teach this in a workshop, we all read the same text and we all create a book snap and we all connect so uniquely different. It's incredible. So please, please allow your students to use book snaps like a digital highlighter and let them bring their personal connections to the table. But more than that, the second thing that I really hope book snaps can bring for others is that they can launch it out into an authentic audience, that they can share their book snaps in some way with others. Because when others comment on your book snap, or they say, wow, that really speaks to me like this, or wow, when I read that text, I thought of it this way. But they're having that authentic conversation and being able to see how multiple perspectives are perceived from the same piece of literature, or the same text. So 21st century connecting to text via digital visual representation is just amazing. I love how Book Snaps has spread. We are now in 6 different countries. If you see the map around Twitter, it's also on my website under the resources tab. If you see that map and you begin using Book Snaps, please add your location. We love tracking like who's using book snaps with students. We have mom clubs using them for their book club. We have teachers and staff using them for professional development book studies. It just can be used in so many different ways. So if you begin to use them, please add your location to the map. If you have any questions, you're welcome to send me a DM at TaraMartinEDU. Also, my website is tarammartin.com. And I would love to hear how you're using book snaps. Feel free to share any stories. I have lots of stories to share of how students have begun to connect to text in incredible ways. But I promise to keep this video pretty short. And thank you so much for supporting this strategy.